Right, and another question in the middle there.
When did Billy become interested in bird watching, and did this have an effect on his health?
Well, he did, because we, from a boy, really. I mean, we had in the old house in Burton Street. I mean, his dad made this sort of little aviary there, and Billy went into the town, and he bought these 2 birds. I think they were South African finches. And were they blue tit? I don't know. I don't know South African finch, but anyway, whatever they were. And of course, he had them. And his dad even got a tree out of the park and put this tree in, and he had these birds. And of course, he was very interested in these birds, and he kept watching them. We thought, they're not going to lay eggs, For the simple reason, Albert had come in one day, and he'd let one of the birds out. And we had the cage, and we had it on the window ledge upstairs, trying to get this bird back. We couldn't get it in. It'd come so far, we couldn't get back in a cage to put it in. So I thought, God, what am I going to do if he comes in now and see that there's only one bird? So I went into the town, and I went into the shop, and I said, what one of these birds, I thought they were South African finch, but I don't know. And the chap said, do you want a male or a female? Well, I didn't know what it was. So I said, well, I don't know. So he gave me this bird, and they must have been the same sex. So there were never any eggs, and you couldn't understand why there were never any eggs. So that was the first start of him, really. And of course, Albert as well, they used to go into the park. Billy was interested in birds' eggs. And they'd be up the trees, collecting eggs. But he never... You'll go up the trees, yes. But, you see, he used to always say to him, if there's only 1 or 2, don't take them. If there's about 3, you can take one, but don't take them all. Yeah. So do you want to finish that, Albert?
Yeah, because he used to put a pin on and blow them out and all that. Because seems to be some sort of a fad at the time where people were collecting eggs and that sort of stuff. But there's one instance where I'm over a tree and I couldn't get down. And I brought the egg and he said, put it in your mouth. So I put this egg in the mouth and I'm coming down the tree. I only got to that far, I jumped, didn't I? So, I don't know, it's probably a pigeon's egg, I don't know what it was. It was pretty horrible.
Did you used to go bird watching much with him?
Just got the park and doing it.
No, I was more with the other birds. Just when we were young, I'd go with him,
Now, the thing that must have worried you about Billy was his fast driving, because throughout the 60s, there's one conviction after another, isn't there?
Absolutely, yes. When he first started, he got the MG first. And Albert was working in such a shop, and he'd had an accident in the shop. And Billy was home at the time. And of course, when we got to know that he'd had this, the butcher's where he worked. And of course, Billy said to me, I've got to go down, but you've got to sign, because he's got to have this thing was caught in this mincing machine, And he said, you've got to come down. Well, I'd never been. I'd never been in this car, and he said, I know, I'm going to take you down. Well, when I seen this MG, sports car, I thought, oh gosh, am I going to get in that? And he got in and had zoos, And that was the first time, I got in the car, and of course he had loads of cars after that. He had the Lotus when he was in Great Yarmouth. And as soon as he did. As soon as he got outside the theatre in Yarmouth, Great Yarmouth, he was doing a tour there. And the police knew exactly when he was going to come out that door. And he'd be on him. And the fines used to come to the house for me to pay, we were paying fines all the time, speeding fines for him, and it's like so he just got in it and they knew, they were after him for it. That's what happened.
You presumably took a great interest in the cars he had, Albie, didn't you? Because you've been very interested in cars yourself.
Yeah, well, the MG was a car he crashed out a couple of times. and the Lotus Super 7, because when he was in Young, it was the summer seasons, we used to go down the prom in the Lotus, you know, or sometimes he'd have a bike and we'd go down on the bike, and he did get speeding fines quite regular, but in them days I don't know, it to be 10 or something like that. But when he got done, he always got done about 6 times more than anybody else. Maybe it's because he was in show business or something like that, you know. But the thing is, it's gone reverse with me. I didn't get no fines very often this year, about 2 in a month.
So you're getting like him, right? Another question, please. We can just take a couple more. There was one there, was there?
Albus, Gene. When did Billy like acting? When he made about 3 films, and then did he like acting? And if he did, would he like to be a serious actor as well as a pop singer?
Acting.
I don't know really about that. I think he enjoyed what he was doing, like in the singing and that. But he did act in a couple of films, and he didn't say he didn't like it. I think it could have grown on him, you know, to be an actor. But he didn't like pantomime. That was the thing he did. He did Aladdin once, but he said, I don't like that, you know. But I don't think he liked pantomime, but I think it could have grown on him to be an actor. I think he would have liked to have done, you know, a few more films.
Did he dislike pantomime as a whole? Did you ever take him to a pantomime when he was young?
No, I don't. Not many. No. It was just that I don't know. I think he played Aladdin. Maybe he didn't like that part. I don't know. You know, but he said I didn't like that at all.
So Billy is an actor.
Well, maybe he got the right pitch or something like that. But I know what he said to me once when he did I've Got a Horse. And after the dance, he says, I feel a bloody fool doing that. You know, so if he wasn't so keen, he did it. And, you know, he may have done, I don't know really, because he didn't get the chance to do it, you know. But the thing in that movie with Ringo Starr, That'll Be the Day, that was like just a cameo role, you know, so he was like a bit moody and acting like the big moody guy, which he was sometimes. But he could have done, you know, given maybe the right direction or something like that.
Well, I remember having Hal Carter on my radio show once, and he said that Billy didn't like speaking in public because he didn't like people to hear his Liverpool accent. Is that actually true?
No, I don't know where that came from. I think
Well, it came from Hal Carter.
Yeah, well, I can't say on that part. Hal's not with us no more. But no, he could talk really. I think, you know. I mean, he used to talk pretty at some of those shows that he did in the later years, didn't he? To the audience and things like that. I think a lot of it is a little bit of mythical stuff going on with the Larry Barnes thing and all that, you know. Or like, don't be too available to people, be more aloof. I mean, I got told that, but I'm the opposite. I can't cheer up, me. You know, so I think he would have been a good actor, and as far as having a Liverpool accent is concerned, I was down in London once when he was doing the Joe Loss recording. And the guy came to interview Billy and he said to Billy, he said, blah, 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 and he said, could I ask you what part of America you're from? You know, and our kid said, I'm from Liverpool. He said, I think what it was, with him leaving Liverpool so young, and then going to live in London, I think, like we say London, they say London, you know. Going to live in London, I think he had a bit of a crossover accent somewhere. Because I lived in London for 2 years and I sort of started talking that way. It's just, I don't know why, it's just sort of because you're talking that way. But I don't think he was never ashamed of Liverpool or his accent, you know what I mean? Not at all. I think it's just one of them things, you know. I mean, he was so a very private person in his private life, you know, and the things he'd do. When I went to stay with him at the farm, and I'd get up and I couldn't find him. And I said to, I won't even mention her name. I said to this lady, So where is he? He said, oh, he's out somewhere. I went out looking, I couldn't find him for about 2 hours in the end. I just pure by luck I found him. He had a bird hide, and that's where he was, photographing birds. You know, and he used to be into that sort of stuff very much. You know, because not only was he a good singer, he's a good writer of songs, but he also was a good artist, and he'd done sketches of birds. And then he got into the photography with birds, and he was supposed to have a book coming out called Mixed Bag of Birds. But of course it couldn't happen, but he used to bring the stuff home and show the pictures he'd taken. And some of the unbelievable pictures that he took. And he had that interest of, you know, protecting wildlife and all that sort of stuff very strongly. Wasn't into any blood sports and anything like that, and I'm not myself, you know, or to be cruel to animals. So, you know, it's like, to me, you don't be cruel to children. So, you know, animals can't defend themselves, children can't defend themselves, so you're not cruel to them, you know. So he used to get really annoyed at, say, the hound, the foxhound thing and all that. And it actually was in the papers one time in London, but he got up here, I can't remember where, the hunt came across his land. And well, of course, he called it out with a shotgun, doesn't he, you see, to stop people going across his land, you know. But he was totally against it, and I am as well, actually. There was all this, that's all that, but it was pride, it's the private part to him was that. Not that he was wouldn't talk in public.
So if he had lived, he'd be the sort of perfect host on some sort of television programme now about birds and animals.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, he would have done.
Richard Attenborough Rock.
Yeah,
he would have done. Because he knew, you know, everything about a bird, all the birds. He could tell everything about them, you know.
Right.
And when he was on the farm, he was doing, you know, he had a big hide there and big place he built a tower.
Built a tower,
you know.
About 5 stories high, which is about like it was a hide as well, you know. So right his front door, still there. Yeah, because Jenny Warwick, who's involved with the fan club somewhere, I think she's in the room. She bought the farm.
This is the one in Wales.
The one in Wales, yeah, and it's still there.
Even the duck ponds he built there, he built all the duck ponds and things like that. He used to have all the wild geese coming in. So there was everything there, you know. And because he had sheep on there.
A wild animal sanctuary. It was. So it was going to be, it was on the way.
So he had, you know, lots of things that he was going to do.
Okay, well, we can take just one more question and then it'll be over to Liverpool View.
So I believe somebody asked you earlier on.
Yeah.
The first records and last records.
Yeah.
The first was maybe tomorrow, as you know.
Yeah.
The last was Forgetting.
Yeah. Spot on, that's what I said.